Okay, everyone. So we have made our very first web page. It's clean, it's got basic information, it's white with black text. There's nothing really exciting about it. So we're going to add what we can call the pretty and make it a little bit more pretty and a little bit more um, visually appealing. So we're going to add some colors and we're going to put a picture in and make it more interesting for our users to look at. So whenever I'm doing this, I'm constantly going to be going back and forth between Notepad and my code, my Notepad and with my code, and then the browser where I get to preview the web page because I want to see what it looks like. The first thing you should know before we add the pretty is that though this is a web page, it's not on the internet. We have not uploaded it to a web server, so the only place this web page is at is on our local computer, where we've got it saved at. So don't think you're putting your stuff on the internet where other people can find it because we haven't done that. The only person that can view this right now is you. So I need to go back to my code and I am going to make some changes in my code. I'm going to leave my browser open so I can see my web page, and I'm going to come back to Notepad. So I'm going to go ahead and open Notepad, and I close this for a reason because you may have this same issue. I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to go to Semester 2, and then I'm going to go to my web page, and there's no files there. And you may be thinking, oh my goodness, all my stuff has disappeared. Where did it go? Well, don't worry. What you need to do, Notepad saves everything as a text file, and it's looking for text files. So you need to go down here to this Dropbox, click on the arrow, and choose All Files. So now you can see the HTML files or anything else that you have saved. I went ahead and saved a picture as a JPEG.jpg file into my web page folder because I'm going to use that a little bit later. So now we can click on our folder and we can see our HTML document. The first thing I am going to do is to start adding and editing to my code is I'm going to go inside of my body elements. And when I say in the side of the body element, I just mean in the word body, in between the word body and that close wicket. Right in this space is where I'm going to add what's known as attributes. Attributes help further define what's going on with the body. And it's very important that you get these things in the right order. We always start with the less than sign, the open wicket, which is the open wicket. And then we have to have the tag, which is body in this case. And body has to follow the wicket, and everything else we add to it is going to follow the word body. The first attribute I'm going to use is style. So I'm going to do space and then style. And I'm going to further define my body by giving my attributes some values. I'm going to type an equal because that's going to separate my attribute from further information. And then I'm going to open up a quotation mark and I'm going to change the color of my background. Right now my background is white because that's the default, but I can change it to a different color. So I'm going to type the word background hyphen color, and then I'm going to use my colon, and then I'm going to put what color I want to use. So I'll do purple, and then I'm going to use a semicolon, and then I'm going to close my quotation mark. So this is going to change the color of my background. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and then I'm going to, File, Save, and then I'm going to switch over here back to my browser, and I'm going to refresh this, and now you can see that my background is purple. So beautiful purple background. So now I'm going to go back to my code, and maybe we want to change it to a different color. There's 216 different color names that you can put in, so you can kind of play around with some different colors. So let's just do green. I'm going to go to File, Save. I'm going to go back to my browser. I'm going to refresh this. And now we see that it's green. And so let's go back to Notepad, and then we're going to try something else. I want to try a black background, so I'm going to replace the word green with black. And I'm going to go to File, Save. I'm going to refresh this. And now I have a black background. But wait, I have an issue. Where's my text? You can't see my text. It's black text on a black background. It's still there. You just can't see it. So what I need to do is I've got to change the color of my text. I can keep my text black if I want to, but maybe I want to keep it the black background and maybe have white text. So we're going to fix this problem. We're going to go back to our code, and I'm going to add in after the semicolon, I'm going to add the word color. So we're in and then I'm going to type the word color, colon, and then I'm going to do white. And then I'm going to put my semicolon. And I'm going to go to File, Save. I'm going to refresh this. And now we see that my color of my text is now white, so it's easy to view. So you could go back to your text and you could do maybe yellow. Yellow might look like nice. File, Save, refresh, and now you see that it's yellow. Okay, so that's a great way to change your text color. So now maybe we want to change the font. So when we look at the font itself, you're probably familiar when you go into Microsoft Word, all the different fonts that you can choose from and use in your documents. Well, you can do the same thing in HTML, except we don't have a drop-down list. So we actually have to know what the font's names are called. So by default, your font is most likely going to show up as Times New Roman. That's what you see when you're looking at my web page. And right here on the screen, you're seeing that because it's the default on my computer. And yours might show up something different depending on what computer's default is set at. So I'm going to come back to my code, and I'm going to position my cursor in between the semicolon that follows white or yellow in the quotation mark, and I'm going to make a space to change the actual style of the text, and it's called font. And then I'm going to do hyphen family. And then I'm going to do colon. And And then I'm going to write out the name of my font. So if you want to use a different font, go to Microsoft Word and see exactly how it's written. So I'm going to use Bookman Old Style. So I have to say Bookman space old space style. And then I'm going to do my semicolon. And I'm going to go to File, Save, come back to my browser, refresh, and now you can see that my font has changed. Pretty cool, huh? So just a word of caution with fonts. Fonts only work if they're installed on your computer. Some of the best fonts to use are things like Arial, Georgia, Trebuchet, Times New Roman. There's actually a list of about 16 different web-safe fonts, and you can Google that and see exactly what they are. Bookman Old Style probably isn't one, but just use something that's very easy to read. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add a picture. You saw that I had a picture in the folder. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in. I'm going to put my picture between my name right here, my heading, and the paragraph about me being a teacher at Georgia Cyber Academy. So I'm going to make some space. I'm going to hit enter a few times. And I want to make sure that I have saved my picture that I'm going to use as a .jpg file, and it's in the same folder as my website is saved. So you want to have that picture in the same folder. So I'm going to open up a widget, and the tag to put in a picture is IMG. So IMG is image without the word A and the word E. Now image or image all by itself does not absolutely nothing except tell the browser, hey, there's a picture here, but you wouldn't actually see anything. So it needs a little bit more. It has to have an attribute to work with it, and the attribute is source. So we're going to put space src. It's source without the vowels. And order is real important. Make sure you write it as src. Sometimes people get it mixed up, and that's a common mistake. So you want to make sure you don't do that. So I'm going to put src, and then I'm going to put equals. And then I am going to put a quotation mark. And I'm going to put the name of my picture. So if I go back to my file folder right here, I have it saved as page.jpg. So that's what I'm going to call it. So keep your file name simple. And then I'm going to close my quotation mark. And then what we can do is we can add some alternative text. The attribute for alternative text is really important. If the picture doesn't work, the alternative text will show up on your screen. So if you've ever been on the internet and maybe a picture doesn't work, it'll still tell you what it is. There's a little pop-up text. And another reason it's important to do this is if your user is using a screen reader, they're going to have to read the alternative text to them because obviously they can't see the picture. And I just need to give it a little bit of text that describes the picture. So I am going to put in alt equals quotation mark, and I'll say Paige and I at the fair. And then I'm going to do a close quotation mark, /, and close my wicket. So the reason I put the slash at the end is because the image is a one-sided tag and it doesn't have a separate open and close element like everything else we've done so far. It just has an open, so it's known as self-closing, and we put the slash at the end. Otherwise, we're going to have validation problems with HTML5. So now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to my browser. I'm going to refresh. And now you see my picture. It's me and my daughter at the fair when she was dancing one day. So there is my webpage. So when you have got your information about your title can be your hobby, the name of your hobby along with your name. You're going to include a picture about your hobby. You're going to create a short paragraph about your hobby, and then a list of 5 items. So you now have all the tools you need to be able to create your own webpage. So excellent job, guys.